afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and I source cars for people on a professional basis, hence the name of my channel, Lloyd Consulting. 4 years ago, I was asked to come up with a series of videos that were filmed inexpensively. We don't use digital cameras, we don't use fluid head tripods, we don't use shotgun microphones, we wear tatty shirts, we just use a phone, but we look at cars that you can buy for a budget up to £1,000 only, and we very much enjoy ourselves. These are cars that might be in cosmetically bad condition. You might see oil leaks, rattly dashboards and cosmetic imperfections, but we go all over the country and we find these very inexpensive cars that you all seem to enjoy watching. Well, viewers, it's been a long time since we've had a Mark III Panda on the channel, and here is another one. 4 years ago I filmed a 2008 Panda 100 horsepower for Sensible Secondhand Reviews. It's a very early episode of Sensible Secondhand Reviews, and it belonged at the time to Mr. Bill from the Fuel Power channel. It was called Walls Wheels at the time, but now Fuel Power. He doesn't own the car anymore. He sold it some time ago, but the 100 horsepower is a rare version of it, really. They're quite expensive these days. In most of the Mark IIIs you'll find, like this one. This is a 2009 1.2 Dynamic Eco. Dynamic was the second trim up from the base, and mainly with these you'll find with the 1.2 engine, which this car also has. Amazingly, this is only £30 a year to tax, so they're quite popular even now, and they do represent probably one of the better cars you can buy for under £1,000 these days. This car cost about £800 a little while ago. It's done quite high mileage. It's not, you know, a low mileage car by any means, but it looks actually really good. These are proving to be quite reliable cars in general, particularly because the first of these came out in this country in 2004, so about 20 years old. This is one of the later ones. You've got these sort of red badges and a different grille, which designate this car is after 2007. Although the facelifts that happened were very minor. They really weren't in any way significant at all, because they got the design really quite right the first time, and there are still cars, I think, that have just finished production. The 500 and the Mark IV Panda, both based on this platform, both finished I think about 2024. So that's it really. Not much to sort of say other than look at this unusual colour. This is a standard colour. I think it was only available in 2009. And yeah, I think it looks good. I prefer maybe an Alessi or an Eleganza model rather than one of these, but there we go. It just depends what you like, doesn't it? Have a look under the bonnet and look at the little fire engine 1.2 on this side. That's actually a purple folder with all the running costs of this car in it, which is not a lot, to be honest. It has had a cam belt done and some things like that. It's one of the main things you need to look out for on these, if the cam belt's been done. But you know, they're pretty cheap to tax. This is an eco model, so it's £30 a year. Cheap to insure. That they're quite good on petrol. You can put E10 in this if you want, of course. And it's ultra limited zone compliant. I think all the petrol ones are. So that's fantastic. Right, let's open up the bonnet. This being one of the kind of normal 1.2s, there was a different 1.2 available right at the end in 2010 to 2011. But this is the normal one. It's got 59 horsepower, 1242 cc's. Pretty easy to work on really. The 1.4s are more difficult than this. They're a bit more sort of crammed in, but this 1.2 and the smaller 1.1 pretty easy to work on for such a small car. So there's the ECU. I've heard of the 500s, which, you know, are very similar to this underneath. The ECUs are a bit of a problem. I'm not sure on the Pandas actually. The other thing I've heard with these about the rust is it's the inside of the driver's front wheel arch that sort of goes first, which you wouldn't be able to necessarily see very well. But actually, for such little money these cars cost, only, you know, well under £10,000, when they were new, and what they cost now, they actually do represent quite good value for money if you can find a nice one. But yeah, I mean, I would make sure the cam belt's been done. I'd make sure you've got some nice history with these, but they've actually stuck to abuse quite well considering the age of them. You know, something like a Mark 1 car, yeah, those tend to be a bit rustier than these. And of course, you could buy a Mark 2 car on this platform, but for some reason I tend to have a few problems with these. The gearboxes can be a bit of an issue, the manual ones. I would absolutely also not touch the dual logic automatic gearbox. They are dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I've driven one of the 500 and oh dear, automated manual, and they are terrible. I would not touch those if you paid me. Right, anyway, let's stop ranting and have a look inside. Okay viewers, actually we'll start with the boot. There we go, about 201 litres I think it is, which actually is bad for a car like this. You can move the parcel shelf up like that, which is great if you're loading things in and out. The only thing is if you leave it up like that, and sometimes it sort of stays like that, then the rear visibility is compromised, so you might want to put that down before you set off. Got little courtesy light in here. Ooh. Gary, who owns this car, has changed that for a red one. Interesting. Spare wheel's under there. I'm sure you will know what a spare wheel looks like, so we won't bother with that. But actually, it's not bad for just a small little car like this. Quite practical, particularly as you can move that shelf up or get rid of it if you want to. Exactly. So he's also a fan of Ian Seabrook's Hubnut channel and the All Things Alex channel. I've just been with Mr. Charles from All Things Alex as well, because we're near where he lives here, so that's been fun. Let's get to the back. Reminds me much of a lot of something like a Daihatsu Move or a Suzuki Wagon-R or something like that, in terms of the fact it's a small car but it's quite tall. I wonder if they sold these in Japan, I'm not sure. So, legroom's not really very good. The headroom is superb. Like if you were 6 foot, and I'm just under 6 foot, you'd be fine. Windy windows in the back. I'm not even sure if the Eleganza got electric rear windows actually. Somebody maybe tell me in the comments below if you've got electric rear windows on an Eleganza. And it's very simple. The controls for electric windows are actually in the centre console there. Don't get any door bins, which is a shame. It's all hard plastic and there's no rear head restraints. But yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be, I think, just a 4-seater really as well in here, which is fine, I suppose. You wouldn't want to put someone in the middle; it's a bit cramped. And just a very nice, simple, logically laid out interior. Obviously, for a short journey, the passenger was nice and generous. I can move their seat forward a bit because my knees are a bit cramped in here, but I've got loads and loads of headroom. I'd probably be happy going a bit further if that was moved forward a bit. And I like the way that we've got an interior that reflects the colour of the car outside as well. Let's get in the front. One thing that sets this car out in comparison with the 500s and the Bath models is it's really tall and it's easy to get in and out. It's not so on the 500s. I prefer these, to be honest, to those, even though they're really similar cars. Put the key in, there we go. No parking light switch on this, unlike some of the earlier Fiats. Gear lever falls really nicely to hand actually. You wonder why all manufacturers don't put it here. City button on there, we might not touch that actually because it tends to make the steering just feel very artificial. One thing I don't like about this car, which is trim level, is the fact we haven't got electric mirrors in here, which is a bit of a shame. Mirror switches are there, and this car does have air conditioning, it's just here. But just, yeah, really simple. Actually, I know it's hard plastic and it maybe doesn't look particularly exciting, but this car has done, let's just turn the key and remind myself. Oh, it's not telling me now. I think it's 126,000 miles it's on this car. If I start it, it'll tell me, I don't know. No. That's not very good for you, is it? I wanted to trip me to remember something. There you go, yeah, 126,000 miles. Brilliant. It's in remarkably good condition for that. There's no tear on the driver's seat, the plastics aren't worn, the gear lever's still good. We've got a Mark II Fiesta gear in there as well, and some cup holders, an emergency hammer. You never know when you're gonna, I don't know, accidentally drive into a lake or something. It does happen. And nice big door bins, very, very practical. You don't have to change the centre console from left to right hand drive or anything. Yeah, everything's just really simple and hard wearing, which is what you want in a little car like this. Glove box, let's see if we can get any mission documents in there. I mean, I don't know if we will, to be honest, viewers, but we can give it a try, can't we? Oh my gosh! No way! Oh, viewers! We could take this car a bit more seriously, like the Clangers and Pikachu and everyone else. They look happy with their little car. And we've even got an MP3 CD player as well. When was the last time we saw one of those? Well as the auxiliary USB things down there. Excellent. I mean, what more do you need in life, as Dr. Stuart Ashton used to say? Let's go out for a little spin. Right, viewers, let's go out for a little drive in the Purple Panda. Base engine in one of these was a 1.1 fire engine with 54 horsepower. It's the same engine that was in the majority of the Seicentos, which this actually replaced in this country, although the Seicento remained in production for many other markets afterwards. Then we have this 1.2, which is in the sort of majority of these Pandas that you'd be looking at, which started off with 59 horsepower like this one, and then in 2010 for the final year was upgraded to 69 horsepower, which sort of brought it more in line with the 500 at the time. The more exciting one is the 100 horsepower, which actually has 99 horsepower, but the Fiat Panda 99 horsepower doesn't sound as good as the Fiat Panda 100 horsepower. That's a 1.4 litre version of its engine, and that will do 0 to 60 in under 10 seconds. This is about 13.6 in the 59 brake horsepower version. The 69 will be a little bit better. Let's have a look at this city button and see if it actually does anything at all. It probably makes the steering unbelievably horrible. Let's just here we go. It doesn't make a lot of difference actually. I thought it would be just horrendous, but it's all right. Let's just turn that off. No, there's not a lot of difference really. I mean, if you find the steering heavy at parking speed, you can use it, and I didn't need to. I think at 100 horsepower that I drove in 2020, that was like a sport button, which is probably what I prefer. But yeah, the ride, it's just a little firm edge to it. It's not as sort of hard as I thought it might be, apart from in 100 horsepower, whether it really is a little bit for them. But it's a very easy car to drive. The driving position is not for everyone. It's quite upright, and there's no seat height adjustment, at least not in this model. The really weird thing about these cars is that the backrest doesn't split when you want to fold it, apart from on the Eleganza. There was some special edition as well with these cars. The standard models were active, which is 1.1 engine, and then the dynamic like this one, the Eleganza. Later on you had things like the sort of Alessi model, which is really nice. Alessi is the maker of those nice kettles you get. And the Mami, Mami is probably what you say when you're in a 1.1 active model, and you're just joining a motorway slip road like Mami, because it's so slow. Then sort of right at the end there was a version called the My Life, which was I think a run-out model with the 69 horsepower 1.2. By that stage, which was about 2010 that came in, the 1.1 had been discontinued. I wouldn't bother with it really, because it's actually less economical than the 1.2. It's just on the base one. I mean, if you're really going for a sort of poverty mentality, then by all means buy a 1.1 active, but I wouldn't do that. I'd personally go, if I were to have one of these, because the 100 horsepower is a little bit firm for me. I would go for the later 1.2, which has 69 horsepower, which would be fine for most people. But yeah, a very pleasant and agreeable car. I do like it. I like it quite a lot. So viewers, should you consider a Mark III Fiat Panda for your hard-earned budget at up to £1,000? Well, frankly, if you've only got that kind of money, then yes. I mean, you've got to buy quite carefully. You can have some quite expensive problems with these cars. Occasionally the head gaskets can go, particularly on the very early cars. If the camel's not been done, then that could be interesting. And also the rear axles and the rust that's coming through on some of these cars now they're getting older. But if you can find a decent one, even if it's a high mileage one like this one, what more does it you need in a little car to get around? The running costs are very cheap. They drive quite well. They're nice and easy to park. Good on fuel. Yeah, why not? Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again very soon for some more inexpensive motoring.